This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. There he is.
What's up? What's up, Bo? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, bro. I had a crap ton of turkey in me. It was great, dude, last night. The old lady knocked it out of the park. Rice and beans.
Awesome.
I like this fried sweet potato that she does.
Okay, yeah.
Every year, and it's one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving that she does. So, and it was relaxing, just hanging out with the family, watching the games.
Yep.
Watching the Lions be the Lions again, all those kind of things.
Yep,
So,
close, but not close enough, right?
Bro, on 3rd and 1, you got to know you have Jared Goff. You don't go for a deep shot, bro.
Yeah,
you go for you complete a short pass. You give it to Williams. Like I was saying, you want to develop a culture and you want to say you're a good franchise. You don't trade T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah,
you have Jared Goff, bro. He needs T.J. Hawkinson. He needs a stud that makes his life easy.
Right.
And what you had to do was chew up the clock, make Buffalo use their timeouts. If you're going to kick a field goal, you're going to kick a field goal with 2 seconds left. You're not giving Josh Allen the ball back. And, you know, if you have an elite quarterback, then you take that deep shot because you have an elite quarterback. But Jared Goff at no time has ever proven to you to be an elite quarterback. It's just ridiculous. I just, and the clock management, the roughing the passer penalty was just incredibly stupid on that Buffalo drive.
Right.
There's just, the Lions were the Lions.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. So I think this is clearly a team that, you know, that's not ready to win.
Gritty.
And they won a few games in a row and people got to look excited about them. And maybe they're closer to closer to turning a corner, but that shows you how what good teams do and what bad teams do. You know,
are you old enough for the Wayne Fonts years?
No.
Okay. God damn,
no.
Dude. I'm so old.
I'm a youngin', but
God damn it, bro.
But
I realize how time has flown.
The Bills were giving them every opportunity. The Bills have, by the way, not played very great football over the last 3 or 4 weeks. They're going through some things offensively. Obviously, they lost Von Miller for some time with the injury, which is a huge injury. And so this is a team that, although they're 8-3, they've had some vulnerabilities. And 2 straight weeks, the Browns had them early in the first half where they were hanging around. And, you know, if you don't put the Bills away, they'll find a way at the end, you know, like they did this past week. And so the Bills gave the Lions every opportunity to pull the upset, win a game on Thanksgiving, and the Lions didn't want to take it. So,
and let me just add to the two-and-on facts there. Josh Allen, 24-42, 253, 2 touchdowns and interception against the Lions. Tua Tagovailoa, 29 of 36, 382 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions against the same defense. So, so suck on that, haters out there. Oh, by the way, just want to run this by you because, again, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I'm a nutbag saying, hey, you got to fire Tannenbaum and Gase and put Chris Greer in place. And I'm a nutbag like, oh, you're an idiot. Chris Greer's been part of the problem for 15 years. And I'm like, no, he's not. They don't listen to him. He just files his reports. He gives his suggestions and he sits back and they don't pay attention to him. So he's not the problem. And he's proven it. Tua, obviously, everything that's, gone on. But, about a year ago, somebody said, now's the time to get off the ex-gravy train. You thought I was crazy. Well, 10 games in an injury-riddled year where he doesn't look like himself. He's playing with 1 or 2 growing injuries. They're attacking him like a regular corner. How was my crazy statement a year ago? Does it sound so crazy now, Cameron Wolfe?
Yeah, no, I think you were right. I think the reality is everything was going to be based on the quarterback. And so you're seeing the quarterback be the guy that I know you've long thought that he could be, that the Dolphins have long thought that he could be. And
Well, no,
because of that,
at the Dolphins front office long thought he could be not the owner, not the former coach.
Correct. The Dolphins, at least for sure, when they drafted him, thought that at 5th overall he could be this guy. And when you see this guy become that, it allows you to be aggressive. It allows you to pull the trigger on Bradley Chubb and give up what you give up to get him. It allows you to see the fruition of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle being together all you could see. It allows your head coach to be as creative and effective as he has. So all of that is based on you being essentially, although it may have taken a couple of years for some people, proven right at the quarterback spot. But yeah, Chris Grier, I'd say, I talked about it on air earlier this week. The Laramie Tunsil trade started all of this. And that was one of the best trades that we have had, seen in the NFL in probably
since Emmitt Smith.
Years.
I'm old.
That's what I was about to say. I'm not as old, so I don't want to, forget a trade.
I'm giving you the ammunition. Mike Lynn, Jimmy Johnson, Herschel Walker to Minnesota for all those picks, and he got Emmett, and he got God, I forgot what players came out of it besides Emmitt Smith exactly. Yeah, please look it up for me. But he got that Herschel Walker trade. It's wow. That's the last trade, because I don't know what Ditka got for Ricky Williams. I mean, what they got for Ricky Williams.
Right.
When Ditka traded for Ricky's rights. I don't know.
I know that Ricky went initially for all of the picks.
And a second rounder the following year. But I don't know what they got with all those picks. But I know that Jimmy got, I want to say he got Emmett. I think he might have gotten the safety, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember the damn safety's name that was all world of theirs. I think it was in those picks. He's looking it up now.
Yeah.
But I want to say, since the Jimmy trade for Herschel Walker, this is the next best trade out of all of that one.
Right.
We got the answer. Hold on.
All right. So he used them over the succeeding years. The picks acquired in those were then used to draft players such as Emmitt Smith, Darren Woodson, Russell Maryland.
Yep.
Darren Woodson
is not just any old safety.
Right. No, and Russell Maryland. And Russell Maryland. That's the third one that I forgot.
Heck of a haul. And so obviously the Dolphins didn't exactly get all the 4 guys, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb, Javon Holland are the 4 that came from the Laramie Tunsil deal. Obviously, they had to make several other trades to get those guys, but essentially the initial trade set the path for them to get these guys, which are all going to be 4 core players there. And so, yeah, Chris Grier, when a lot of people had questions on should he be out with Flores, has done a really good job over the last year, establishing this core, not only for 2022, but for years and years to come. And so I think Dolphins fans should be very happy about where the state is for their team, not only for a chance to win a division this year, but also to be one of these teams we talk about for the next, 5 to 10 years.
By the way, Tua's a hell of a lot happier than you and I are after Thanksgiving, because he saw that Von Miller injury. Knowing his ass, he's not like,
he probably didn't see it.
He probably feels bad for the guy, knowing him, because he's such a good dude. But deep down inside, he's got to go, all right, bro, I don't got to worry about that dude.
So Von hasn't been ruled out for the season yet.
No, but it sounds pretty bad according to
Rappaport and Schefter both reported that he didn't tear his ACL, but that it looks like he's probably going to have to miss much, if not the rest of the regular season. And then it's probably a January stretch run injury if, all things go well. So he's not out yet, but obviously it's a big blow for them as they try to win this AFC East. And
dude, if he's got a tear in the LCL and he needs surgery one way or another, see, here's the thing that I was thinking. And again, this is the cynical one in me. This is why I've been thinking the whole Byron Jones is doing business with the Dolphins. Here we go. Here's where business sets in, doggy. He's got a 1-year deal, correct?
Von?
Yeah, right?
No, he's got a 6-year deal. He signed a 6-year deal.
Oh, so then he's fine.
Yeah. He's got three guaranteed, 6-year deal with 3 guarantees. So he's there regardless.
So he can play. So he can play it out. Okay. Yeah. So if it was a 1-year deal, then he would have to go to surgery right away to save his ass for next year.
Right.
But because he's got a guaranteed deal, then it's up to the Bills now to help him with the gamble, because they could ruin him for next year also.
Yeah.
So they've got to be very careful how they handle this one. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. It's gonna be interesting down the stretch, because they've got a bunch of injuries, and Vaughn is not only huge for them on the field. I think he has 8 or 8.5 sacks. He's your top pass rusher, obviously, but off the field too. They brought him in to be that guy for this time of year. Like, yeah, he's been really productive. September, October, November, but they brought him in with the same mind that the Rams had December, January, February. You give us the push. You've been here. You won multiple titles. You've won a Super Bowl MVP. Help our young guys when it gets hard in December, January, and February over the punch. And so if they miss him for most of December, how does that affect that defense? I think it's a very, very significant injury. I said it yesterday. Some people argued with me on Twitter. I think he's the most significant player on that team outside of Josh Allen. And so,
hell yeah, who the hell can argue that?
Some people say Stephon Diggs is more significant than him, and I could see it, because
that's a good argument. That's a good argument.
But to me, Josh is the guy on offense, and Vaughn is the guy on defense, and you have to have one guy on each side of the ball. Like, Stephon is obviously number 2 on offense and a huge part of it. But to me, if they lost Stephon for a time, you still have Gabe Davis. You still can make it work. Without Vaughn, and all he does from a leadership standpoint, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I know, but the Diggs one is a good one. I didn't think about that.
Oh, they did. I was like, trust me, they don't want to lose either one. They don't want to lose either one.
No, but that was a good argument there, because while I like the other two, he's just at another level, bro. Diggs is, come on, man.
We saw him this past game. I mean, Jesus, like, even when he doesn't put up the crazy numbers, like he didn't put up 100,
but they're impactful plays.
Exactly. Whenever you need him, he comes in clutch. He has a knack for that his whole career.
Yeah. The good thing is, it's what I've been telling, remember, we're a scarred bunch down here. Yeah. Because it's 2 decades. It's like Detroit fans. It's like, any other fan base, Orlando Magic fans or something. We're tortured children, mm-hmm. and so we always think that the other shoe's going to fall, and because that's what's been the case. But they've never had a franchise quarterback since Marino. All the other guys they've always had are guys like the guy you watched yesterday, and Jared Goff, that you're hoping that he can make a play or two, and if everything goes well, this, that. But he's not the guy. Right. And I'm trying to tell the Dolphin Nation, so back me up here if you believe what I believe here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to win all the games or anything. I'm just saying they can beat anybody on their schedule.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is or where it is. San Fran, Chargers, Bills, I don't care. I'm not telling you they're winning all these games. I'm just saying Dolphin fans should go into all those games with the confidence that they can compete and possibly win those games.
Yeah, there's nobody that's too big for them. Like, I think we talked about this last year when they played. I think it was last year when they played the Chiefs, right? And Tua came back in the second half and they made it close, but the game really wasn't close. They blew them out in the first half. I'm like, this team wasn't close enough to the Chiefs talent-wise that I felt at any point they were going to beat the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs, to me, are probably, you could argue either the Chiefs or maybe the Eagles. I probably wouldn't count the Bills in there. Whoever you consider as the biggest quote-unquote challenge to the Super Bowl right now. You match them against the Dolphins right now, the Chiefs will probably get 3 or 4 points in an even sight favorite, maybe 5, but they shouldn't be afraid of them. None of those teams are too big or too talented for the Dolphins, on any given Sunday. Like, Patrick Mahomes is this, but the Dolphins feel pretty good about their quarterback, and they feel pretty good about their offensive line, their run game, and their defense in certain aspects. And so I think that Dolphins fans should feel pretty good going down the stretch and have some fun. I think this team will make the playoffs, and, then we'll see what happens from there.
I know now's not the time or the place for it, so I doubt you've been dabbling in this subject because it's not important really, but it's intriguing. And so that's why I bring it up to you, because I haven't dabbled in it. I probably will once I go, God, thank God I get to go back to the combine. I haven't been there in in 4 years, bro. It was the last time. Last 3 years,
Combine.
I haven't been to the combine, and it's like it was like a 20-year run, and then like all of a sudden, 3 years of not going. But I'm looking forward to going this year, obviously, and getting back to mingling with the NFL folks, and I'm sure I'll do some of it either at the Senior Bowl or the East West. How much has the Dolphins' success hurt Brian Flores? Because the development of Tua, the development of the offense, which is where he struggled mightily overall. We could talk about all the other issues, whether his lack of one-on-one skills and those kind of things that happen also that are there. But the fact that these guys made such a quick turnaround on offense and that the quarterback is playing at such a significantly high level compared to anything that he did in the first 2 years under Brian Flores, I wonder how much this has hurt him behind the scenes. Forget about the lawsuit and forget about any of that. Just pure X's and O's.
It's an interesting question. I think the thing is, I think Brian Flores is going to have to go over a lot of hurdles to be a head coach again. If that,
oh no, he'll never get that. He's done.
So, but I think the thing, if he's not a head coach, is if he's a defensive coordinator, it won't necessarily hurt him because his big issue on the field, like strictly on the field, is he could not figure out a way to fix the offense. The offensive coordinators, he couldn't find the guys to run the offense. He couldn't find a way to get the most out of the offensive line. He couldn't find a way to get the most out of his quarterback. Obviously, his relationship with his quarterback wasn't good. So everything on the offensive side of the ball did not go well for Brian Flores, right? But the defense, we have to say, was pretty good under him,
Yes.
And so his best path is what he's doing now, being a linebackers coach, maybe eventually becoming a defensive coordinator somewhere. But I think his limitation will always be on the head coach side. One, some of the issues he had here at the end and his relationship building, his personal, but also, can we trust this dude to build an offense?
Right.
And like you said, you clearly brought in a guy like Mike McDaniel who knows how to build an offense, and he did it instantly. And so it's showing you the difference on coaches who can build an offense or identify coaches, because you don't always have to be an offensive coach. It could be a defensive coach who's really good at identifying offensive coaches to lead the offense he wants. Flores was not good at that. And so I think it impacts him as a ability to get the defensive coordinator job, but I think it makes his path to a head coach job that much harder if there even was a path before.
By the way, it's at least understandable because Adam Gase was an offensive guy and he couldn't
figure out the defense, right?
He couldn't get his offense going either.
Right. He couldn't either.
That first year, he got Ajayi and everything went well, but after that, it all fell apart on him on offense. You know what I mean? So it's and by the way, the same things that this man Flo suffered from, so did Joe Philbin, by the way.
Yeah,
two different ways of doing it, but both lacked people skills, actually.
Right.
You know what I mean? One was maybe too abrasive in his way, and the other one just didn't know how to communicate whatsoever with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like both oddities in the way they did it. And so it's nothing new what Flores experienced. We've seen this tons of times. Lots of guys are exceptional coordinators, and they suck as head coaches.
Yep.
Wade Phillips, bro, one of the greatest defensive minds ever.
Awesome mind.
Do you want him as your head coach ever?
No, probably
Never.
not.
Never. Never, but you'll welcome him with open arms. He's an
awesome defense coordinator, and an awesome guy too, by the way.
Awesome human being too, right?
Yeah.
Awesome human being.
Yeah,
but it never worked out as a head coach.
Same for Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau's in the same cat. Some guys are really good at their side of the ball. It's so hard. That's why, I think people get caught up when it's hiring cycle about what somebody ranked as a coordinator on this sort of thing. I still remember Mike Vrabel, who I think is one of the best 6 or 7 coaches in the league. He was 30. He had the 32nd ranked defense as a Texans in his lone year as an offensive coordinator. The Titans hired him as their head coach. People were like, how could you hire the person with the worst defense of football? Because it's not just about calling the defensive plays or calling that. It's about everything else, your ability to lead, your ability to manage.
Right.
And so, I think Mike McDaniel has, and we're only 10, 11 games in. I'm really interested to see this stretch down the way. This Texans game, they should win, but they got to be careful because this is the quintessential trap game because they're so much more talented than the Texans. They're so much more, confident, better, but they're playing. The Texans are throwing out this backup quarterback who hasn't played all year, who, maybe you get lightning in a bottle, and how do you respond to that? But if they get past this game like we expect, even if it's a little uglier than it should be, you got a 6-game stretch where I think we're going to really learn a lot about this team, Mike McDaniel, Josh Boyer, the defensive coordinator. And if they can show what they've been showing over the first half of the season, then I think this is the core for you to believe in for a very long time. But there's a lot of games coming up that I think they're going to test them starting in San Fran next week.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that stretch is going to be awesome. And by the way, it's a nice primer for the playoffs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, they shouldn't be afraid. They shouldn't be afraid. It's going to be a challenge. But they shouldn't be afraid because they stack up with all of these other teams, even if it's difficult. They stack up.
And I got to tell you something. While some people might be concerned about a letdown or something, I don't know, dude. Maybe it's just a homer approach on my part. But I think this winning stuff is so new to them and so refreshing to them. And I think the 3-game losing streak was the wake-up call of appreciation.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're like, this is life without this guy, and we couldn't get by it. Let's appreciate this, and let's take advantage. And I think when, they were talking about, I think Tua said it yesterday, they were chomping at the bit to get back and all that stuff.
Right.
I believe that's the case from those guys because I think they're excited about winning and they're still in that mode where people aren't convinced of them. Right. So they haven't been annoyed at anything yet. Yeah. That's the cool thing for them, too. They're not like Kansas City. Like, we're already annoyed in Kansas City now. Instead of Buffalo, we've kind of swung a little over to Kansas City now with our belief, right? That's kind of what it is. Okay, Buffalo,
they're healthier. They've been playing a lot better.
Right.
And so, I've been counting Buffalo out, by the way. But before, it was Buffalo is the hot favorite and, Kansas City is second. Now I think it's been Kansas City's heavy first, and then Buffalo's, in the mix with the other teams, Miami, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Tennessee, all that stuff. Yeah. Right.
So Miami hasn't been annoyed at anything.
Right.
And so I think they kind of also, they can't get a big head because Tua's they're still saying, oh, well, Tua, it's the coordinator, it's the receivers, it's you put in another quarterback and he would have the same. So there's nothing of that. I think there's still some hunger on this team. So I think you're going to see a performance. All right, so we'll wrap it up with this. Who's the second running back on Sunday? Because it's not going to be Mostert. Come on, let's go. We know
so Mostert actually was suited up in practice today, but I do get the feel that they're going to be careful with him this week. Rest them, especially, like I said, the team won't say this, but you're playing the Texans. You don't ideally need him. If this is a playoff game and he's like, hey, I'd suit up if it's a playoff game, it's not a playoff game. And so not ruled out yet. He did technically suit up for Friday practice, but I would probably say that Salvin Ahmed is the second running back there. But I do think that both he and Miles would both be active if Raheem can't go.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, he's injury prone, something else they won't tell you. So you've got to be a little extra careful. He's coming off a knee injury. By the way, is it the same injury? Is it the same knee?
I do not know. Yeah.
That's the thing. All right, follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe and catch his exceptional work, as always, on the NFL Network. Cam, enjoy the weekend, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
We'll do. Get another turkey sandwich for you, my man.
You know it, baby. Tonight, leftovers.
Yes, indeed.
You got it. Be good. There you go, Cameron Wolfe. You know I'm going to have some leftovers. We did bring leftovers home, right? We did, right? Okay. I'm looking over at my wife's here. So I just had to look over like, we did, right? We got them. I know we brought some. Did we bring the rice and the beans too? Oh, God. Rice and beans were off the hook, man. Off the hook. Joe Shad there yet? Send his slow ass a text. Huh? Yeah. Oh, we have unleashed the wolf pack.